happy Tuesday. Thank you for enduring our technical difficulties this morning. I hope that you are all still on and watching and that everything goes smoothly. Now, I'm going to knock on some wood if I can find some, because most of the wood I have in here, I think, is mostly fake. At any rate, I hope we're all here together. I see at least 30 or so people watching live, so hopefully we are good to go. All right, so a little bit late today, but that's okay, right? Because here we are together finally. First and foremost, I want to let you know that we are having a 3-day palette palooza right now. So if you purchase a machine embroidery palette, you will get a free gift with your purchase. So that's a great fun deal. Not to mention, as you know, since I'm always talking about our palettes, if you purchase a palette, it comes with embroidery designs. So it's like you're getting a free gift with purchase anyway. But we are sweetening the pot with another free special gift from Sulky. So I am going to be talking about using a palette today. It is our Hello Summer machine embroidery palette, and I think you will all enjoy our project. But before we get started, I have some other things to share with you. First of all, we have a cool new product at sulky.com. For those of you who enjoy puzzles, we have a couple of them on our website. We have a quilting puzzle, which is quite challenging, I might say. It's an intricate quilt design, so you can have fun this summer putting that one together. And we also have our stitch quilt puzzle. So this is another fun one. It's a 1,000-piece puzzle, so that'll keep you busy this summer if you like to go camping or just have an activity to get you through the heat of the summer while you're sitting in your air conditioning. This is a great little gift idea as well. So you can find those at sulky.com. And this is another one that I just opened, everybody. This is a thread cutter pendant. You all know how I love sewing jewelry. I have a couple sitting right next to me here. I have this great sewing machine necklace, as well as a necklace that says Maker. I wear this one all the time on So What. You guys always comment about it. Here's my Maker necklace. Well, now we've got a necklace that, it can be a necklace or you can put it on a keychain or something like that. Maybe a zipper pull even would be great on a sewing zipper pouch, maybe that you carry all of your supplies in. But this is a thread cutter pendant. So you can wear this on you, and then all of these little notches here you can use to cut and snip your threads. So if you're wearing it on a lanyard, or maybe you put it inside of in the hoop scissor pouch that we made about a month ago on our last Scissor Stasher webcast. Anyway, this is a handy little tool. We have them in silver and in gold at sulky.com. So I wanted to show those to you because I just opened a care package from Sulky and I got some cool, nifty little notions to share with you all. Now, today is also our webcast day. We will be broadcasting live with Cheryl Lynch of Cheryl Lynch Quilts over at sewingonline.sulky.com for our, wait for it, Flower Applique in the Raw webcast. So this is happening at 2 p.m. Eastern Time today. So once we finish our live stream here for So What, we will head on over to sewingonline.sulky.com where you will watch me and Cheryl live presenting Flower Applique in the Raw. This is her time-honored technique. She has really honed her applique skills, and these mandala appliques are really large-scale appliques. I think they're a little over 12 inches, I want to say, and she's going to show you how to layer these appliques, construct them, put them together, tips and tricks for fusible applique, and not only fusible applique, but also ways of stitching down your applique, starting and stopping your stitches. She's going to give you binding techniques. There's all kinds of things to learn in today's free webcast. So if you are not registered yet, there is still time. Be sure to register because you will get a free embroidery design that you can use to create a custom quilt label for your finished mandala masterpiece. And speaking of mandala masterpiece, this is the pattern that we're going to be working through today. And this is available for purchase at sulky.com. It is available separately, also as part of the kit for today's event. So here is everything you get in that great kit. You get a special 4-yard cut of Sulky Perfect Applique Fusible Web. You get Cheryl's beautiful fabrics that she has designed for Hoffman Fabrics. You also get a 6-pack of Sulky thread, applique template sheets, and of course the pattern that you need to construct everything. So this is available for a special price only until midnight tonight. So grab up your kit if you haven't already so you can get it at that special price, and join us a little bit later this afternoon for our free webcast. So if you are all signed up, many of you said that you are, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you'll be joining me over at sewingonline.sulky.com, and we'll have a great time. Another thing I want to mention is we have some new offerings over there at sewingonline.sulky.com for guilds only. So if you are a part of a sewing or quilting guild and you're looking for some great education opportunities, we have a couple in the works that you can go ahead and sign your guild up for. And once you sign up your guild, if you happen to be your guild president or guild representative, you can sign up your guild and then you will be emailed a link for your guild members to then go register for the event. So it's a kind of one-stop shop where you can purchase a guild event for a set price, and then all of your members get to then join in. So I put a link for more information on our guild-only events in the description of today's post. All you have to do is click on that little See More button on the bottom of your screen, and the whole description for today's post will pop out, and you'll see the link that you can go on and get more information for how to sign up your guild. All right. 2 great projects to choose from, 2 different times. We will be joining virtually, and Eric Drexler and I will guide you through the projects and some sulky techniques, and it's going to be a great, great time. Lots of door prizes and all kinds of fun things. And this one is more of a sew along opportunity. It'll be a 4-hour event, so you will have time to actually work through the project while I am sewing through it in a multi-camera setup for you. So really, really cool lounge and learn virtual guild event opportunities. Okay, anything else we need to talk about before we get to today's project? So in a couple of weeks, I will be at the American Sewing Guild Conference in San Antonio, in person. I know, it's so exciting. I love American Sewing Guild. I've been a part of it for a really long time, and their yearly conferences are great opportunities to come together, meet people who are part of other guilds, and there are so many in-person education opportunities. There are hands-on sew-alongs, there are lectures, there is a fashion show, there's lunch every day, and it's in beautiful San Antonio, right off of the Riverwalk. You can stroll along and go out to some great dinners every night, and it's just going to be a really great time. So I will be there teaching, and we will also live stream a special So What from the American Sewing Guild vendor hall. So you can get a bird's eye view, kind of, sort of, of what goes on at ASG. And I will also be announcing the winner of our Casey Duffel photo contest. I have been talking about this contest ever since we did our Casey Duffel video cast back in February. So if you have not entered to win through our Casey Duffel photo contest, then make sure you do so before June 30th. That is the cutoff date to post your photo of your finished Casey Duffel and share it out to get all the votes that you can, because The winner is going to win over $1,900 in prizes to outfit your sewing room. You will win a fantastic sewing machine from Brother, as well as sulky threads, stabilizers, scissors, and rotary cutters from Havel's Sewing, a Court Cut Club membership from Sally Tomato, as well as a wonderful prize from American Sewing Guild. So lots of things to win. Head on over to the photo contest so that you can vote for your favorite as well. They need all the votes they can get. And it's been really, really exciting to see everybody's take on their Casey duffel bag. So there's lots of inspiration for you to view in the gallery as well. All right, I think I have covered everything, and I've got to get through this drawstring bag tutorial so that we have some time to head on over to sewingonline.sulky.com and make sure that we are ready for our video cast today. All right, so I'm going to be showing you how to make this great nylon drawstring bag. Now, if you have been to, a special event, or, you might have gotten a bag that's similar to this as like a promotional thing. I have had several over the years. My kids love to use them as swim bags because they're made of this great vinyl, so they can get wet, no problem. You can store, if you go on a hike and have some gross shoes after, or, a workout towel or something like that. It's great to use a fabric like this for just a quick drawstring bag. You can use this as like a sling bag and put both handles together, or of course wear it as a backpack. Really quick and easy. And what I hate about the promotional bags that you get that are similar to in style to this is that they fall apart so easily. The grommets come loose, and then the nylon fabric starts fraying, and then they're toast. Okay, so I thought I would make my own and figure out a way to reinforce these grommets and to not only make it last longer, but also personalize it with some great embroidery. So this is a really large scale embroidery design. It's from our Hello Summer machine embroidery palette. And again, you get a special gift if you purchase up a palette over the next couple of days. That sale goes until June 16th. So it's not really a sale, it's more of a gift with purchase. So you'll get a cool little gift from Sulky if you purchase our Hello Summer palette, or any of our machine embroidery palettes that are accessible via that link on our homepage. So at any rate, I started with the Hello Summer palette, which comes with 10 spools of great Sulky rayon thread. This design features every single one of those colors except for the black spool. And it's so colorful and summery. I did want to mention that I swapped a color for the summer lettering. The design indicates that you should use the yellow for this lettering. And since my background fabric, my ripstop nylon, was yellow, I thought I needed to swap that for the orange color, or you could use a pink or anything else in the palette so that it really popped off of the yellow background. So, you can always take liberties with the thread color and really personalize it and make it your own. But I do recommend still referencing the color sequence chart that comes with your design files so that you know which color is planned for which portion of the design. And then you can make some really great designer choices and swap out colors where you see fit. So if the recipient of yours really loves pink, you can do all of the lettering in pink, and then it'll be personalized for that person. All right, so like I said, I chose a very large scale design. This design collection for Hello Summer comes with 6 designs. I have featured several of them on our latest So What episodes. So this one is called Flip Flops for obvious reasons. And it comes in 3 sizes. So if you purchase up just the individual design or just the design collection or the palette, you will get that design in all 3 sizes. So you get a size for a 4x4 hoop, a size for a 5x7 hoop, and a size for a 9x10 or larger hoop. So I used the largest 9x10 hooping size for this project. And you can see the design is bigger than my head. So it takes up the whole front of the backpack, which I absolutely love a large scale design. It really makes an impact, and you can just center it on your fabric pattern piece, and you don't have to worry about your perfect placement if you chose a smaller design and put it on the corner or maybe centered it along the lower edge. That definitely would still work. And maybe you could personalize it with the name of the recipient as well. So you can add some more designs to it if you only have a 4x4 hoop, or just center that smaller 4x4 design on that fabric piece. So here is just a picture of the design. That's my girl Emma there modeling so nicely. And I will say that my twins are fighting over this bag. So I've got to make a second one now because they no longer want the promotional one because, you know, obviously this is more colorful and they just absolutely love this design. So again, makes a really great gift if you have a summer birthday or someone to make this for. So first and foremost, we are going to gather our supplies, and all of the supplies that you need for this project are all listed in the blog post that I linked to in the description of today's post. So you don't need to write anything down. I am in fact not going to give you the dimensions because I can't remember all of that while we are live streaming. So it's great that we have a blog post that you can reference and get all of the instructions for this entire project there, as well as this entire supply list. So you can see we're working with this ripstop nylon, and you'll find it in the specialty fabric section of your fabric store in most places. I didn't have a lot of colors to choose from, quite honestly. At my local Joann Fabrics, I had this great yellow, a white, and a like forest green. So I went with the yellow. I thought it was so great and summery, and I was really lucky to have that color as an option. So just check it out at your local fabric store, or of course you can find ripstop nylon online as well. So we start with that. It's a tricky, slippery fabric. It's a little difficult to embroider, so I'm going to give you some of my tips and tricks and some special sulky stabilizers that are going to help you along the way. Speaking of stabilizer, it's not shown here, but I used sulky Soft and Sheer. Soft and Sheer is a cutaway stabilizer that's rather lightweight, so it kind of matches the weight of the fabric that I'm using. And there is a tiny bit of show through on the cutaway stabilizer, the border along the design perimeter, but I lined my bag, which gives it more structure and also kind of eliminates or reduces the likelihood of that stabilizer kind of shadow outline showing through. It's not that big of a deal for me. It's not a deal breaker on the project, but you do need a cutaway stabilizer so that it remains with the project over time. You don't want a tearaway that's going to not support the outline of your embroidery design. And as you could see, this is a very dense embroidery design, lots of thread work, lots of stitches. So we need that cutaway to remain with the project over time to help stabilize it and not have any, ripstop nylon will just fray like the dickens along the edges. And we want that extra stability from the cutaway stabilizer. I also used a little bit of, let me see if it's in here, of the sulky Stitch and Seal after my embroidery was complete. And I'm going to go over that with you as well. All right, you can see those beautiful threads. Those are all 10 rayon threads that are included in the Hello Summer embroidery palette. You also need some bobbin thread. 60 weight sulky bobbin thread works great for this project. We have it in pre-wounds as well as lots of different spool sizes. And you also need some construction thread. I used Polydeco to construct the bag in just a yellow color that matched the fabric. You also need some cording. That's what we're going to use for the straps. You can find cording in by the yard, as well as you might be able to find it in some pre-cut spools. What are those called? You know, over where you would find the ribbons and trims. Also, I grabbed up a pack of 2 cord locks. That's going to help keep our cording in place. See how it locks in that grommet? And then we can also resize our straps with the cord lock as well. So it kind of does double duty. These are super inexpensive, and you will find them over in the hardware section. You also need to grab up some grommets, or I guess they're called eyelets. Eyelets and an eyelet setting tool. And I grabbed the largest eyelets I could find for my project. You could probably go a little bit smaller depending on your cord width. But I just went with the largest ones I could find for this project. We're going to need 6 extra large grommets, and make sure that you have a grommet or eyelet, setting tool as well, so that you can apply those with ease. All right, so first we're going to, I should have mentioned, along with the ripstop nylon, I also used some faux leather to reinforce the corners on my bag. This is what those promotional bags are usually missing, is this reinforcement piece that allows you to attach your grommet and have it be a little bit more substantial. We are going to insert our grommets along the lower edge of the bag through all of these layers. So we've got a triangle of faux leather on the front side corners and the back side, sandwiching all the layers of the bag together, and the grommet goes through all of that. So that's also why I went with an extra large grommet, to make sure that the grommet thickness would be enough to hold all of those layers together. All right, so if you can't find faux leather for your reinforcement piece, you could even use cork fabric. You could probably get away with using like a heavier weight canvas fabric. You want something that's going to hold that ripstop nylon and prevent it from fraying over time. That's where your grommet pops out of place. It starts to fray along that hole, and then your bag isn't usable anymore. And actually, I take it back. You don't want to use canvas because you need a no fray fabric for this, because we are not finishing the edges. See how the edges are just cut? So that's why the faux leather or the cork fabric would be great. So first off, we're going to cut some squares, and I cut way more than I needed for this because I just got cut happy, I guess. And so there are all of the triangles I cut. Whoops, I only need 4. So you'll need 4 triangles for your bag lower edge, 2 for the front, 2 for the back. Then we're going to mark those triangles for our grommet placement later. So I marked about 3/4 of an inch from the corner and just did a little marking. Now, once we get to the part where we are going to top stitch these in place, you may want to adjust that mark a little bit to center your grommet, but I wanted a sort of starting point for that grommet placement, and it also allows you to line up your triangles when you place one on the right side, one on the back side. I should also mention in the supplies, and this is in the blog post, that I found double-sided basting tape, or sometimes it's called hem tape. You could get the 1/8 inch wide or the 1/4 inch wide. That really helps you attach your faux leather or cork or no fray fabric pieces so that you can line them up for top stitching. All right. So now we're going to jump to machine embroidery. After you cut the pieces that you need from your ripstop nylon, you will have a front and back and then a front and back lining. So 4 rectangles total is what you're going to cut. Choose one that you are going to use for your front piece for the machine embroidery. And now what we're going to do is use KK2000 to attach it to the soft and sheer stabilizer. We don't want to use a fusible stabilizer here because the ripstop nylon can be damaged by heat. You don't want to apply heat to it. It's going to just shrink up like that on you and become a crinkled mess. So instead, we're using a non-fusible soft and sheer stabilizer. We're going to attach it to that piece using KK2000. So once the two have been temporarily sprayed, you're going to hoop it. Now you can see I'm using the largest hoop that I have. I don't have a 9x10 hoop. My hoop is much larger than that, and that's okay. I just wanted to be able to use the largest design possible. So I have a really big hoop. I have hooped my fabric, and we're just going to start the embroidery. You can see that now that we have that layer of stabilizer, the nylon has a little bit more thread weight to it. So now we can embroider this dense design and not worry about it perforating the nylon or that type of thing. So make sure you are clipping your jump threads with each thread change using your curved tip squeezers. I talk about these all the time. I went a little farther ahead with my images there, but when you are clipping your jump threads, it's important to not nick or mar this nylon fabric with the tip of your scissors. So grab up some curved tip squeezers. We have these at sulky.com. I talk about them all the time. They're one of my favorite little notions. Pretty inexpensive. I think they're like $6.99 or $7.99. You will love them. So easy to use to just clip all of those jump threads with each thread change. All right. So once your embroidery is complete, you're going to remove that piece from the hoop. And then we're going to trim the stabilizer just beyond our embroidery design perimeter. Like I said, you may have a little bit of show through where you have trimmed that stabilizer. So if you want, you could leave your stabilizer intact on the entire piece and just construct it with that extra layer of, now it would be really considered interfacing or interlining. And that's fine as well. That would eliminate any kind of shadow show through you might have depending on the color of ripstop nylon that you used. So you could certainly leave that intact or trim it away. All right, so there is mine all trimmed away. So like I mentioned, I wanted to use the Sulky Stitch and Seal product to seal any needle holes that my embroidery design created in the ripstop nylon. First off, it's going to ensure that my bag is still completely waterproof, that those needle holes don't, cause any moisture to get in through the layers of my bag. But as I also mentioned, the ripstop nylon is going to be marred by any kind of heat. So if we fuse the stitch and seal to the backside of our design, that could ruin our fabric. So I tested on quite a few nylon little samples with the stitch and seal. I used a press cloth. I fused it only on the stabilizer portion. So if you have kept your stabilizer intact, you could fuse your stitch and seal with a very, very low heat setting and double check that it's not marring the right side of your fabric when you fuse it. So what ended up working for me was to fuse it only along the embroidery design. So that extra layer of soft and sheer was acting as a another heat barrier protecting the nylon fabric. I had to be very persnickety about cutting the stitch and seal the same area that I cut the soft and sheer extra. So you could, in addition, trim that away afterwards, but you really want to make sure that your nylon is not affected by the heat of the iron. So do lots of tests. Make sure you use a press cloth so that your iron doesn't get damaged as well. Make sure you can also put a press cloth on the right side of the fabric when you're doing your tests. So you're kind of sandwiching your fabric in between two press cloths, just to make sure that, you know, nothing gets funky on you. All right. So here is the stitch and seal as you can see it. I fused it along the embroidered portions, especially along the perimeter of the design. And then there is my press cloth over the top, just to make sure that nothing gets marred by the iron, and make sure that your iron is not too hot as well. The stitch and seal only needs a little bit of heat in order to work and to become one with the fabric. All right, so now we're going to start constructing the bag. Once we have our embroidery and we've protected it and we've added those layers to make sure that our bag lasts a really long time. So what you're first going to do is put your embroidered front and your embroidered back wrong sides together. I know. We are going to do French seams for this, for both the front and the lining pieces. And that is going to make sure we don't have any fraying over time along our seam allowances. So I kind of tested that. Well, I tested this on my sample on the serger, and it really wasn't adequate. You know, you could do a really narrow serger stitch, almost like a satin stitch along the edges for your construction, but you're still going to have those little fraying pieces coming out in between your serger stitches. So I found that a French seam technique was the best way to enclose all of those raw edges and make sure that our bag is going to last a really long time. So first we're going to sew our side seams and our lower edge with a, what was it? 1/4 inch seam allowance, I want to say. It's all in the blog post. So first we're going to do wrong sides together. It's really counterintuitive to sew with wrong sides together. And you're going to think to yourself, oh my gosh, I have this raw edge seam showing and I'm looking at the right side of my project. So you just have to retrain your brain that you're going to do a French seam first with wrong sides together. Then you're going to turn your project, there it is, wrong sides together with my narrow seam allowance. Then we are going to turn our project so right sides are facing. And we're going to stitch a little bit wider seam allowance to enclose that first seam that we sewed. So that is a French seam. Those French are so fancy. All right. So now you can see this is with right sides together. I have a completely enclosed seam along my sides and lower edge. So we're going to do the same thing with our lining rectangles, but we have to leave an opening for turning. And along that opening, I am applying that double-sided basting tape. This is pretty much a lifesaver because with our opening, we have that French seam going on that we need to replicate once we have turned our entire project right side out. So in order to facilitate that, I applied double-sided basting tape, just the narrow 1/4 inch basting tape, to my opening seam allowance. And if you don't have that, you know, you can probably try folding your seam allowance like I did here, using a little bit of KK2000 temporary spray. But man, look at the opening that I was able to achieve just by using that double-sided basting tape. And yes, it's permanent It'll stay in there for the life of your project. So once you have applied that, you can fold over your opening seam allowance and, just stick it down, and it's nice and accurate and in place for you for the next steps. So now this is kind of upside down, but here I have my lining that I've done in the same French seam technique with that opening for turning. You can't even tell where the opening is because I have that fusible hem tape, or excuse me, not fusible, the double-sided basting tape in place. All right, and there I'm just showing that there is where the opening is, and no fraying, nothing. It's all secured by the hem tape. So now we're going to insert the lining into the outer piece so that right sides are facing. So you'll just shove your lining inside of that outer piece, and then you're going to match your side seams, and you can make your little French seam allowances go opposite directions to kind of reduce the bulk there. And I just clipped along the side seams using some Wonder Clips. You don't want to use pins with this ripstop nylon because those pins are going to create permanent holes in your project. So just think about it that way. No heat, no pins. Grab up some Wonder Clips if you don't have them in your stash already. We have 2 different sizes at sulky.com, but they are really invaluable for this. If you don't have some, you could use maybe some small binder clips, but I find those are kind of unwieldy, and this is a slippery fabric. So those Wonder Clips are really helpful in keeping those seam allowances together. You could add a couple more if you want to for security along the upper edge to make sure that it's, meeting the entire way. Then we're just going to sew around that upper edge. You can start at one side seam, make your way all the way around the top edge of the bag. Then we get to turn the whole thing right side out. So you're first going to pull your lining out. Then through your lining opening, you will grab the whole bag and turn it right side out. Then you're just going to clip your opening shut where you have your fusible hem tape, and you can fold that so nicely because you have that great edge that you created with that hem tape. So I just used a couple of clips, and before we shove the lining into the outer, just kind of whip stitch, or you can even just top stitch that opening shut. So now we have the makings of our bag. We just need to insert the grommets and create our upper edge casing, and then put our cording through it, and we're almost done. So now you're going to mark the placements for your grommets. Before we fold that upper edge casing down, you want to make sure to add your grommets along the upper edge. So follow the instructions in the blog post for all of that great information and the inches and how to mark and where and all of that, because quite frankly, I can't remember, but it's all in the blog post. And you're going to put 2 grommets on either side of each side seam. And you'll have about this much fabric hanging overhead because that's what we're going to fold to the wrong side to create our casing. So you want to make sure not to put these on the edge as it is pictured in the photograph, but rather place them down farther to account for your upper edge casing. And like I said, the dimensions for the grommet placement are all in that blog post. So here I am using a sulky chalk pencil to mark the center of my grommets. And when you grab up your grommet package, where's mine? It'll come with instructions for how to insert your grommet. So don't just rip it open like I did and then have to go rifling through your trash can to find the instructions. I always, I remember how to insert eyelets, grommets, all those kinds of things, but I like to have the reference next to me. So I kind of forgot, and I had to go rifling through the trash to make sure I was doing it correctly. You want your female piece on the right side and the male piece on the right side. So reference those manufacturer's instructions for sure. And then you also want to protect your surface when you're hammering that grommet in place. You don't want to do this on your nice cutting mat or, you know, your nice sewing table. I got a wood block and I actually went out to my driveway so that I could put the wood block on the cement and do my grommets that way, because these extra large grommets really need a good amount of force to sandwich together. All right, so now we need to add our grommets along the lower edge. So first, we are going to place those triangles that we cut in the very first step along the lower edge of our bag. And again, the double-sided basting tape really came in handy here because, again, you can't use pins through the nylon or the faux leather. And we want to make sure to match up the triangle we put on the right side or the front side with the triangle we put along the back side. And that double-sided tape really made it effortless to match up all of those edges and corners and to make sure it didn't shift or anything while I sewed it. So put those in place along the lower edge, and then you're just going to top stitch through all layers about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the triangle. If you get a little bit off on the back side of your triangle, that's okay. It still looks great. Mine's not perfect, but it's there. And nobody is going to be coming over to you with a microscope telling you that that corner is a little bit off on the back side. And if they do, they don't get the bag because they are not your friends. All right. So top stitch. Ooh, a top stitch needle is going to be great here. You need a really sharp needle to go through all of those layers because you've got your 2 layers of faux leather and then 4 layers of nylon in between because we are sewing through all layers, cinching those corners together. So I also added a second layer of top stitching inside of the first layer just for extra security to make sure that everything was nice and sandwiched together. And I love that yellow poly deco thread accent along my contrasting faux leather color piece. But you could certainly swap out your thread color and to match whatever no fray fabric you're using. But I really like tying in that yellow color of the main part of the bag. So the choice is yours on that one. All right, then we are going to fold our upper edge down to create our casing. And you can see where I attach those grommets so that they are only showing on the right side, and then you have the backing of your casing kind of lining the back of those grommets. So fold that down, and I clipped along the upper edge to make sure it was nice and even. And you can see I've also installed my zipper foot to stitch my casing along the upper edge. And that's just so that I have greater clearance when I reach those grommets, and my presser foot doesn't bump into them so that I can get a nice straight stitch. So keep that in mind. You might want a zipper foot or a narrow foot so that you have greater clearance along the grommets. All right, so there I have. My grommets are in place. Like I said, there's 4 grommets along the upper edge. You've got your 2 in the front and then your 2 in the back. So now we get to insert our cording in through the grommet. So you're going to start, oh, there are my grommets finished. It's nice and flat on the table. We are ready for the cording. So you're going to start with 1 length of cording, and you're going to go in through 1 eyelet all the way around the front bag and out through the adjacent grommet. So then you'll have these 2 pieces, well, this is one piece of cording, right? So it's going through the entire casing. Then we're going to put the two ends through the same side grommet on the lower edge from front to back. Here's the front to back. So here are the cording ends. Then you put the ends through your cord lock and just double knot them and trim your cording. And it's on there. So that's one side of your backpack piece. Then you will do the same thing along the other side. And what I found really helpful, because the cording wants to fray as well. It's also made of some kind of nylon blend, right? So once you cut your lengths of cording, put some clear, just Scotch tape or something along the ends. This is going to keep it from fraying a bunch and allow you to feed it through the casing, much like if you were to attach a safety pin to the end of a drawstring. So put a bunch of tape on the end, kind of tight, feed it through the cording, feed it through the cord lock. Then once you have both ends through the cord lock, you can just trim away your tape and double knot the end. So it kind of contains that fray. If you don't tape the end and you try to feed it through that upper edge casing, it's going to start fraying on you right away, and you're going to have trouble getting it through nicely. So that's just a good tip to add that little bit of tape there. Oh, there you can see my tape going through the cording. I think I actually taped the two ends together at that point to make them small enough to fit through the little hole in the cord lock. And then you'll just knot them together. And like I said, the cord lock allows you to adjust your strap length as well as keep it in place, keep it from going through that extra large grommet. And you might find even wider cording. You just want to make sure that your cording, when it's doubled up, it's going to fit through the cord lock size that you have purchased. So just keep that in mind as well. So yeah, if you want to carry it as a backpack, but you need the straps a little bit tighter against your back, you can simply adjust the cord lock. Then you can go all the way to the end of the cord lock if you want to carry it more like a sling bag, just along one shoulder like so. So you have that option. I love that it is a little bit adjustable. All right, so there's my Emma again, wearing the bag and looking real cute. So she absolutely loves it. Like I said, my kids are already fighting over this bag. And who's to say it's not mine, right? All right, I'm going to go through the questions because I see that some have come in, as well as some great tips from you. I love that you guys add your tips into the chat too, so that we can all learn from each other. All right, lots of people saying such a cute bag. Oh, Brenda, great tip. She says, couldn't you use clear nail polish? So putting some clear nail polish on the end of the cording after you cut it. I mean, that never even occurred to me, but that sounds like a really great idea. I would still maybe put a little bit of tape on the end when you're feeding it through the casing, and then just remove the tape, just to have a little bit something more substantial to hold on to as you're feeding it through. But maybe the nail polish is substantial enough for that. But that's a really, really great idea. All right. Double stitching looks great. Thank you. You could maybe even do a decorative stitch to add those little triangles along the lower edge. And then maybe you wouldn't need 2 rows of stitching, because you could choose like a wave stitch, or, you know, even just a triple stitch or something like that. All right. Oh, Lisa says, I'm making one for my big sis. She's an avid fisherwoman, and this will work great for her. Yeah, wonderful idea. And we have some other designs in the Hello Summer palette in those great big 9x10 design sizes. So you could swap out the design as well. All right. Oh, Maria says, talking about inserting the grommets. Don't do it on the tile floor either. I did that and then lifted the rug and it has gone through to the tiles. So yes, very important to protect your surface when you are inserting eyelets, grommets, snaps, those type of thing. All right, and she says, would make a great bag for biking as well. It's really lightweight to wear. You can throw your beach towel in it and some sunscreen. And, you know, I mean, it has no pockets or anything, but you don't really need it for some of these things. And a great bike bag, a great gym bag when you just need a little towel and a bottle of water. So really great. Lori says, did you seal the seams as well? So I did not seal the seams. That is a good point. With the French seams and the double layer with the lining and the outer fabric, I did not. And I think it's going to be fine. You know, the reason I sealed the embroidery is because it's such a dense design that all these needle penetrations, I mean, there's just thousands of them. Now, when we're doing our side seams, there's not nearly as many needle holes in the fabric along that edge. So I didn't really feel a need to seal those. There's also some waterproofing washes that you can buy. I know there's some by the brand Nick Wax that you can wash various things in. I don't know if it would work for the ripstop nylon since it already has waterproofing properties. But if you're super concerned about that, you may, you know, be able to go over those seams with a little bit of waterproofing something or other. Not super familiar with it, as you can tell. Kathy says the basting tape would really make this easy. I mean, it's about $4 or $5 for a roll of double-sided basting tape. You can find it on Amazon. Sally Tomato sells it. I have found it useful for so many things. I first got it for making straps for faux leather and faux cork bags because folding those straps in towards the center seam and top stitching, it just was a game changer for how accurate you could get your long edge folds because you just stick them down rather than clipping them a million times before you top stitch. So I first started using it for that. And since then, I have found so many reasons to use it that have really, really helped out my sewing and make my seams a lot more accurate. All right. Lori says, I have not used Stitch and Seal. What other type of projects would it be used on? So we have a few great projects on our blog at sulky.com. If you search Stitch and Seal, you should see them come up. One that I most recently stumbled upon that we did a few years ago was actually embroidered umbrellas. These make really great Father's Day gifts, Mother's Day gifts. Our blog post on the embroidered umbrellas also comes with a really great Father's Day design. It says Terrific Dad. So if you have a dad who likes to go golfing, it's a great design for him for a Father's Day project. But that design is embroidered on an umbrella, and then the Stitch and Seal is applied after the embroidery is complete to seal up all of those needle holes caused by the embroidery. And as you know, umbrellas are also made of like nylon type fabrics that really can't withstand a lot of heat. So if you read that blog post, you'll get some more tips for using Stitch and Seal as well. We also used it on a embroidered raincoat, kind of disassembling and getting into in between the lining of the raincoat, adding the personalized embroidery, putting it all back together again after the Stitch and Seal was added. So there's a few things, you know, laminated cotton or oilcloth lunch totes, things like that. So fabrics like that, which, you know, are difficult to apply heat to, you can add the Stitch and Seal as long as you do some tests and make sure that your iron isn't too hot. Okay. Loving my curved tip squeezers. All right. Lori says, use mine all the time. All right. someone's saying, let's use denim for this bag. That's a really great idea. Betsy, yeah, that would look great and be a good kind of back to school type of backpack or sling bag. I feel like my dog is sitting on my my presser foot or something. There's some noises going on. All right. Well, I think I caught up with most of the questions. Let's see. Could you spray the seams with Scotch Guard? That is a great question. I am not sure because I haven't done it. I would, if you have some Scotch Guard on hand, I would do a little test square of your ripstop nylon, spray it on there, see how it reacts. Maybe put it under the water, see if it repels. Just do some tests on a little square, because I would hate for you to apply it and then, after your beautiful embroidery is complete, and then have it create a spot that won't go away or something like that. So always do a little test for something like that. All right, Jan says, marking your cord length and then wrap tape around cord before cutting keeps both the cord and remaining length from fraying. Thank you, Jan. This is what it's all about. So marking your cord, adding your tape, and then cutting, make sure that you have no fraying on your cord length at all. So great tip. Perfect. All right, well, I am going to jump off here. I thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, we are heading over to sewingonline.sulky.com in about 45 minutes for our flower applique in the raw webcast. Make sure to register if you haven't already so you can join us at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you can't join us live, all of our webcasts are always available on demand after the live event ends. So even if you can't join us at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, you can hop on tonight or when you have a free moment, watch the entire presentation, learn from Cheryl herself. You'll get tips from the pattern designer herself, a free class with the designer of this pattern. Does it get any better than this? And be sure to grab up your kit while it's still on sale, because it will go to full retail price at midnight tonight. So make sure to grab up your kit if you haven't already. And I will see you all at 2 p.m. over at sewingonline.sulky.com. Thank you all for joining me this afternoon. Oh my gosh, before I forget, we cannot leave without me telling you that this Friday, June 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be going live with the president of Sulky, Mr. Jason Prater. We will be celebrating the 35th anniversary of Sulky this Friday on a special edition of So What? We will be doing Sulky Bingo. So we will be doing a really fun bingo game virtually, and everyone that's watching, as long as you claim your bingo card early, you will be able to participate in Sulky Bingo. We do have a limited spot. We have limited spots available. So make sure you are signed up for our newsletter, because we will be sending out an alert before our live event with all the instructions for how to join the bingo game, how to claim your card so that you can play along with us on Friday. And you will want to, because we have tons of prizes. So if you get a bingo, you will win great stuff from Sulky. So I'm going to show you a little video I put together that explains this a little bit better. And then I will see you all at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for Flower Applique in the Raw. Hi there, I'm Ellen March with Sulky of America. 2022 marks the 35th anniversary of Sulky, and we're celebrating in a big way. Mark your calendar for a very special edition of So What on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch pages. We'll simulcast live at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on June 17th with Jason Prater, president of Sulky. Jason will lead us all in a fun game of virtual bingo. To participate, watch the So What episode on your preferred platform and click the link in the description to join the game. Space is limited, so be sure to log on early. You can subscribe to our newsletter to receive a reminder email, And that email will include instructions for joining the game as well. If you get a bingo, you'll receive goodies from Sulky. We'll have several winners throughout the broadcast, and you'll have multiple chances to win some super fun prizes. Plus, we will unveil our special edition 35th anniversary mystery box, which will go on sale during the event. One box will contain a Sulky golden ticket, redeemable for a $250 shopping spree at sulky.com. Be sure to grab a mystery box before they sell out. Join me on June 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and let's get ready to party. I'm so glad I played that video for you because there's so many things I didn't mention while I was telling you about our special event on Friday. So lots of chances to win. We're going to play a really fun bingo game, and we will be unboxing our special edition mystery box. I mean, it's like Willy Wonka for sewists, right? You could win a $250 shopping spree if you get a golden ticket in your mystery box. I know. These will not go on sale until Friday. So you will get a sneak peek of what's inside during our special So What. I haven't opened mine yet. I am waiting until Friday. It's absolutely killing me. So I hope you will all join so that you have your chance to get a mystery box and a chance to win $250 worth of items of your choice at sulky.com. All right, mark your calendars, sign up for our newsletter so you get an alert, and I'll see you all on Friday. But first, I'll see you all in 45 minutes for flower applique in the raw over at sewingonline.sulky.com. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next week again for another So What. I'll see you Friday for another So What, next week for another So What, so many So Whats. So make sure to whip up your great embroidered nylon bag. I can't wait to see what you create on our Sulky Stitch and Post Facebook group. So join that as well so you can post pictures of your projects and we all get to see your beautiful creations. All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I'll see you in 45 minutes for flower applique in the raw. Bye.